Hour yoga sure beats jogging.
Yes, yes. An hour of yoga beats jogging. I like it. I like it. Definitely a little easier on the knees. Well, welcome everyone. We are going to switch it up today. It is very cool in here.
It's not yoga.
Yeah, Friday we normally do. This is our day for yin or any type of deep stretching, but we're gonna get some movement in. We're gonna warm up. Maybe sweat. If we were like rubbing hands and shivering a little bit, let's get going. We'll find that comfortable seat and to close our eyes, deepen the breath, and thank ourselves for showing up, getting up early, defrosting windshields, making our way out here to enjoy some breath and movement. We have arrived physically. And take this time in the beginning of class in hopes of arriving mentally, emotionally, and stepping into the present moment. And just for an hour, washing away all the plans for today, the worries of yesterday, and all that stuff will be there after class. Maybe we can approach the rest of our day with a different perspective, a different outlook. We're going to finish with 2 more deep breaths. Next inhale, deep 3-part breath, feeling belly, ribs, and chest. And slowly release it out the nose. And again, big, deep 3-part breath, filling the whole torso up, taking in 1 more sip of air. And slowly releasing. Turning to your natural rhythm of your breath. Beginning to connect breath with movement with some cat-cow. On our next inhale, we're squeezing shoulder blades together, raising the gaze, opening that heart space as we exhale. Tucking chin to chest, rounding the spine, pulling shoulder blades apart. And again, extending that inhale all the way through that cow pose. And extending that exhale all the way through that cat back stretch. And really exaggerating these movements. We can take our time. We can really squeeze the shoulder blades together. Wake up that spine. Get everything moving. Take it about 1 more round. Finishing on that exhale with that cat back stretch. And then while we're holding that, tucking to the chest, rounding the spine, we're bringing our palms are facing out. We're crossing one arm underneath the other, then interlacing fingers. And then on our next inhale, we're slowly uncurling, raising both arms up overhead and finding that slight back bend. Raising the gaze. And then your next exhale, releasing that bind on the hands, arms coming down to our sides. And again, inhaling, both arms up overhead. Exhaling, hands coming down through heart center. Inhaling, both arms up overhead. This time, crossing left arm under right. Tucking the chin, rounding the spine, bringing palms facing each other, interlacing fingers, and then again on the inhale, rising up. Extending arms up overhead, finding that slight back bend. And this time as we exhale, we're releasing the hands and twisting right hand coming behind our back or our chair, left hand finding the outside of that right leg. When it does, take a breath in, sit tall. Exhale, press into the outside of that right leg, generate the twist. Gazing over that right shoulder. We can stretch the eyes out here as well too. Gazing out the right corner of the eye. And then your next inhale, we're inhaling, both arms up overhead, slowly uncurling. And then as we exhale, twisting left hand coming behind. Right hand find the outside of the left leg. When it does, breath in, sit tall, and then press into that leg, generate the twist. Want that spine nice and tall if we're applying pressure for the twist. And your next inhale, we're inhaling. Both arms up overhead, slowly uncurling, exhaling, hands coming down to heart center. And again, inhaling, both arms up overhead. This time as we exhale, right arm crosses underneath the left. Palms turn to face each other, fingers interlace. Pausing here with the chin tucked, pressing the fists away, pulling shoulder blades apart. And then next inhale, we're raising both arms up overhead, releasing that bind, finding that slight back bend. And then next inhale, we're returning to that tall neutral spine. Then as we exhale, side bend right, we're dropping that right hand down, hip, chair, mat, floor, reaching that left over. Maybe adding little shoulder circles here. And then your next inhale, that right arm is rising back up. Exhale, side bend left, dropping that left hand down, finding where we're going to place that hand, and then leaning that right over. Maybe adding little shoulder circles here. And then next inhale, inhaling both arms back up overhead, exhaling, hands coming down through heart center. And then from here, making our way to standing. Bringing our props with us, top of the mat, chair with the seat facing us, maybe blocks. And finding our mountain pose. Wiggling out the feet. Gripping the toes down into the mat, finding that soft bend in the knees. Notice when we bend the knees, we instantly feel the quads engage. We don't have to have a big bend here, just enough to keep them active, shoulders relaxed and down, eyes closed or that soft gaze. And now we are going to generate some heat, warm it up in here. Next inhale, inhaling, both arms up overhead. Exhale, hinging at the hips, forward fold. Inhale, half lift, flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reverse swan dive, soft bend the knees, arms going out and up, maybe finding that slight back bend at the top. And exhale, and it's the heart center. And again, inhaling, both arms up overhead. Exhale, hinging at the hips, forward fold. Inhale, half lift, flat back. Exhale, fold, placing hands, right foot steps back, followed by the left, pressing hips up and back. Finding that downward dog, pressing away through the palm. Pedaling out the feet, bending one knee, dropping the opposite heel. Maybe hips are raising up towards the ceiling. Biceps squeezing the ears, stretch it out. And then next inhale, gazing at the hands, soft bend the knees. We're slowly walking feet up to meet the hands. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift, flat back. Exhale, fold. The next inhale, reverse swan dive, arms going out and up, maybe finding slight back bend and exhaling, hands to heart center. And again, inhaling, both arms up overhead. Exhale, hinging at the hips, forward fold. Inhale, half lift, flat back. Exhale, fold, placing hands, left foot steps back, followed by the right, pressing hips up and back, downward dog, big breath in. Exhale, let it go as we sink the heels down, raise the hips up, press away through the palms, another breath in. And out. And then next inhale, we're floating out to plank. We're pausing right here, engaging the core, pressing away through the palms. Shoulder blades are pulling apart, a nice long line, heels to the crown of the head. Staying with your breath on your next exhale, we slowly lower. Elbows brushing the rib cage, inhaling into that upward dog, straightening the arms, dropping the hips, exhale. Hips up and back, downward dog, big breath in. And out. Next inhale, gazing at the hands, soft bend the knees, slowly walking feet up. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift, flat back. Exhale, fold. Next inhale, reverse swan dive, arms going out and up. Maybe find that slight back bend and exhale. Hands to heart center. And again, inhaling, both arms up overhead. Exhale, hinging at the hips, forward fold. Inhale, half lift, flat back. Exhale, fold, place the hands, left foot steps back, followed by the right, pressing hips up and back, downward dog, big breath in. And out. Inhale, plank. Exhale, lower elbows, brushing the rib cage. Inhale, upward dog, drop the hips, raise the gaze. Exhale, downward dog. Another breath in. And out. And next inhale, gazing at the hands, soft bend the knees, slowly walking feet up. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift, flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rising. Reverse swan dive, arms going out and up. Maybe find that slight back bend. And exhale, hits the heart center. Inhaling, both arms up overhead. Exhale, chair pose, bending the knees. Dropping the hips, weight is in the heels. Smile on the face. Eyes, cheeks, jaw, relax, giving the toes a little wiggle. Pelvis is in that anterior tilt. Wonderful, wonderful. One more breath in. And then as we exhale, we're placing the hands, right foot steps up and back. Adjusting our base. We're keeping that heel up, finding our high lunge base, floating the hands, and then rising on inhale. Exhale, sinking in. Another breath in, lengthening. Lots of movement today. Exhale, goalpost and dip in. Inhale, arms rising. Exhale, goalpost arms. Slight dip into that knee. Inhale, rising. One more time. Exhale, goalpost, dip in. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, slowly lower with control. When our hands arrive, left foot steps back to meet the right, pressing hips up and back, downward dog, big breath in. Exhale, let it go. Inhale, float to plank. Exhale, slowly lower. Inhale, back bend. Exhale, down dog. Big breath in and out. And next inhale, gazing at the hands, soft bend the knees, slowly walking feet up. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift, flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rising, reverse swan dive, arms going out and up. Maybe find that slight back bend at the top. And exhale, hands to heart center. And other side, inhaling, both arms up overhead. Exhale, chair pose, bend the knees. Drop the hips, weight goes to the heels, toes can wiggle. Face relaxes, hands can be at heart center. We can fire up the shoulders a little with shoulder height, shoulder width. We can raise those arms up about 45 degrees. Where do we want to work today? One more breath in. And then as we exhale, we're folding, placing hands, left foot takes that step up and back. And then we're flowing the hands, engaging the core and rising on inhale. Exhale, sinking in. Another breath in, lengthen and reaching, stretching arms, strength all the way through the fingers, and then exhale, goalpost. Sink in just a little, inhale, arms up. Exhale, goalpost. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, goalpost. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, slowly lower with control. When our hands arrive, right foot steps back to meet the left, pressing hips up and back, downward dog, big breath in and out. And then option to flow, inhaling out to plank. Exhale, slowly lower. Inhale, back bend. Exhale, down dog, another breath in and out. Next inhale, gazing at the hands, soft bend the knees, slowly walking feet up. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift, flat back. Exhale, fold. Next inhale, reverse swan dive, arms going out and up, maybe finding that slight back bend. And exhaling, hands to heart center. And again, inhaling, both arms up overhead.
Exhale, hinging at the hips, forward fold. Inhale, half lift, flat back. Exhale, fold, placing hands, right foot steps back, followed by the left, pressing hips up and back. Downward dog, inhaling, right leg rises. Exhale, knee to nose, stepping it through. And we're dropping that back foot. Left heel finds the mat, toes are pointed towards the mirror. We're gonna rise up, warrior two. On our next inhale, left arm cartwheels up and over. Right arm follows. As we exhale and sink in, gazing over right middle finger. And then checking on that back foot, checking on that left foot. Do we have any room? Can we scoot that back at all? And then from here, next inhale, straightening that right leg, both arms up overhead. Exhale, warrior two, bending in, changing the gaze. Inhale, arms up, straighten right leg. Exhale, warrior two. One more time, inhale, arms up. Exhale, sink in. Another breath in here, reaching, stretching, and then as we exhale, cartwheeling hands down. Pivoting left foot forward as we do. When our hands arrive, right foot steps back to meet the left, pressing hips up and back, downward dog, big breath in. Open mouth, side out, let it go. Option to flow here. Inhaling out to plank. Exhale, slowly lower. Inhale, drop the hips, raise the gaze. Exhale, down dog. Inhale, left leg rises. Exhale, knee to nose, stepping it through. Now we may already be in our edge. We stepped the feet back to meet each other. We should be there. We're going to drop that back heel. Right foot facing the wall. And then on our inhale, right arm cartwheels up and over, left arm follows. And we're rising into our warrior two, gazing over left middle finger, stretching the fingers out. Relaxing the shoulders, relaxing the face. Next inhale, both arms up overhead, straightening that left leg. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, arms up straight. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, arms up straight. Exhale, warrior two. Another breath in here. And out, reaching, stretching those fingers out. One more inhale. And then on your next exhale, we're cartwheeling the hands down, pivoting right foot forward. When our hands arrive, left foot steps back to meet the right, finding that downward dog. Big breath in. And let it go. And then option to flow, inhaling out to plank. Exhale, slowly lower. Inhale, back bend. Exhale, down dog. Another breath in. And out. And next inhale, gazing at the hands, soft bend the knees, slowly walking feet up. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift, flat back. Exhale, fold. Next inhale, reverse swan dive, arms going out and up, maybe finding that slight back bend. And exhale, hands to heart center. One breath in. And return to mountain, pedaling the feet out. Recentering, finding that stillness. Noticing the mat beneath the feet, the slight bend in the knees. Spine tall. Come back to the breath, slow it down just for a couple breaths. Your next inhale, inhaling, both arms up overhead. Exhale, hinging at the hips, forward fold. Inhale, half lift, flat back. Exhale, fold, placing hands, left foot steps back, followed by the right, pressing hips up and back. Downward dog, inhaling, right leg rises. Exhale, knee to nose, stepping it through. Floating the fingers, engaging the core and rising on an inhale. Back into that high lunge, exhale, sinking in. Another breath in, lengthen, reaching, stretching those arms up, strength all the way through the fingers. One more breath in. And then exhale, warrior two, dropping that back heel, arms out to a T. And then noticing, where is our edge at? Do we have any room? Can we scoot that back foot back? And the next inhale, we're flipping the front palm, leaning forward. Exhale, peaceful warrior, reversing that warrior. Attention on the breath or that side bend, right? Side body expanding, noticing the stretch in the rib cage in the armpit. Option to add that neck stretch as well, gazing down at the back foot or up at that right arm. One more breath in and out. And then next inhale, we're rising back up to that warrior two. Thinking in as we exhale. Another breath in, stretch and reach and fingers out. Staying right here for the exhale. And then inhale, flip the front palm, lean forward. Exhale, reversing the warrior. Back into that side bend, choosing the gaze. Attention on that right arm, on that reach. One more breath in here. And then exhaling, extended side angle. This time cartwheeling all the way over. Right forearm finds the right thigh, left arm, bicep to ear. Reaching, stretching that out. Always that option to add that twist, dropping the right arm down, pressing into the inside of the leg, shoulders stack. And then left arm reaches up for the ceiling, finding that length, getting as long as we can, fingers to toes on that left side body. And then your next inhale, we're rising back up. Warrior two. Exhale, sinking in. Another breath in, stretching, reaching the fingers long. And then as we exhale, cartwheeling hands down, pivoting left foot forward. When our hands arrive, right foot steps back to meet the left. Finding that downward dog, big breath in. Exhale, let it go. And then option to flow. Inhale, out to plank. Exhale, slowly lower. Inhale, back bend. Exhale, down dog. Inhale, left leg rises. Exhale, knee to nose, stepping it through. Dropping that right heel down, toes pointed towards the right side of the mat on our inhale. Right arm cartwheels up and over, left arm follows. And we find that warrior two. Stretching the fingers out. Finding that length. And from here, we're coming into high lunge. We're going to do a little transition. One more breath in. And then as we exhale, dropping that right arm down as we pivot right foot forward. And then rising up and sinking in. We could come up onto the toe pads of that right foot. Give it that little spin, another breath in, reaching, stretching, lengthening. And then as we exhale back into warrior two, dropping that back heel, arms out to a T. Just a little movement of the heel. Next inhale, flip the front palm, lean forward. Exhale, peaceful warrior. Choose the gaze, add the neck stretch. Bring our attention back to the breath. Sit still, slow and steady. We still in our balance of ease and effort. Next inhale, back to the warrior two. Very slow, smooth here, settling in, checking that back foot. Can we walk it back at all? Whole standing sequence can be a hip opener. Next inhale, flip the front palm, lean forward. Exhale, reverse of that warrior again, choosing the gaze. Attention on that breath or that left side body. Deep into that side bend, and then your next exhale, we're cartwheeling over, extended side angle, left forearm, left thigh, right arm. Bicep to ear, and reach and stretch. Right hand reaching for the ceiling, maybe dropping that left hand down, generating that twist. And then your next inhale, we're rising back up into our warrior two, settling in as we exhale. Another breath in, reaching, stretching, and then as we exhale, cartwheeling, hands down, pivoting, right foot forward, our hands arrive, left foot steps back to meet the right. Pressing hips up and back, downward dog, big breath in. Exhale, let it go. Next inhale, floating out to plank. Exhale, slowly lower. Inhale, back bend. Exhale. Down dog, another breath in. And out. Next inhale, gazing at the hands, soft bend of the knees, slowly walking feet up to meet the hands. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift, flat back. Exhale, fold. Next inhale, reverse swan dive, arms going out and up, maybe finding that slight back bend at the top and exhaling. Hands to heart center. One breath in and return to mountain. Wonderful, wonderful. All right, we're going to prepare for a little balancing series. We're going to set our stuff up at the top of the mat, either our chair with the seat facing us, or we're bringing blocks onto their highest setting. And then we're walking our way back to the back of the mat. We're going to find our mountain pose at the back of the mat, wiggling out the feet and really giving the toes a little wiggle, spreading the toes, gripping the mat, getting a good, nice tight grip on there. Shoulders relaxed and down. We're bringing weight into the right foot, and then on our inhale, we're just raising that left knee up towards 90. And we can be, it can tap up and down. We don't have to go super, super high. The foundation is just the standing leg. Wonderful, wonderful. Now, next exhale, as we slowly lower that left foot down, we're taking a step forward. Weight into that left foot, and then finding tree pose with the right. Find that kickstand, or raise up to the shin or the calf. The calf, the knee, the thigh, maybe. Wonderful, wonderful. Loving the concentration. Next exhale. Bringing that right leg up towards 90, taking a step forward. And this time, as we exhale, we're coming right into warrior three, attempting to slowly lower with control. Left leg staying in line with our torsos. We bring our hands down to the chair or the blocks. Slight bend in that right leg. Left leg, foot is flexed, pinky toe spinning down, and we're pressing away into the imaginary wall. Hands can float, hands at heart center, back at airplane, up in a nice streamline, anywhere in between. And again, slowly with control on our next inhale, attempting to slowly hinge back to that mountain pose, left leg staying in line with the spine. Wonderful. Weight into the left foot, finding that mountain pose. And then on an exhale, just for fun, seeing if we can slowly lower with control. Placing hands, slight bend in that left leg as we raise that right leg up. Foot is flexed, pinky toe spinning down, find that length. Press that leg away, very active, both legs very active in the warrior three. Choosing our adventure with our hands. Wonderful, wonderful. And then next, inhale, slowly rising. And now working our way backwards. Stepping back with that right foot. Left leg, finding tree pose. We can stay in our kickstand, tap up and down. We can choose anything with our hands. Tongue to the roof of the mouth could be helpful. Locking the gaze, steady breath, steady body. From here, raising that left leg up towards 90. Taking that step back, weight in the left foot, and then right leg rises up. Wonderful. All right, where we started, back of the mat. Standing head to knee. And next exhale, slowly lowering with control. Pedaling the feet out. And from here, we're bringing our props to the right side of our mat and finding our wide leg stance, starting to make our way down to the mat. We're going to come down through the standasana or any wide leg forward fold variation we want. We're stepping out into that wide leg forward fold, hands on our hips, slowly lowering down. We're finding that half lift, placing our hands on our props, block or chair, or maybe the mat. Heels are in, toes are out. And then here we're bending into one knee and straightening the opposite leg. And evening out both sides. Returning to the middle and then heel toeing the feet in. Finding our squat feet. Heels are still in, toes are still out, and then lowering down. And then taking any options that feel beneficial to us in our squat. We can pulse up and down. We can drop the hips, and sway back and forth, anything at all. And then eventually making our way down to our bums. I'm sure we all have a blanket. Or two, yeah. Now hopefully we're a little warmed up. We can get on with some of the deeper stretching. Bring a blanket over towards right side of our mat. And we're going to swing our legs around back and come down onto our torsos. And then a couple options for the hands. We're going to do our half frog. We can have one palm stopped on top of the other with forehead just resting on the back of the hands. We can take our half frog with kind of those sphinx arms as well. So whatever you are feeling like, we're rolling gently onto the left hip and then bringing that right knee and placing that onto the blanket on the right side of the mat. And then choosing our position for our arms. Maybe we're resting the head down. Maybe we will get into some back bends, but we can add a little sphinx here if we wish. And now that we're warmed up, we're going to get some of the deeper stretches in. Now this should be its intention is to be a mild hip opener. If we're looking to add intensity, you can just keep raising that knee up a little higher, just using the toes and the heel and just scooting that leg up, scooting that knee up a little higher. Now, as we enter the second half of the class, intensity is not the goal. It's the time under tension and allowing the body to soften, allowing ourselves to get a little deeper into the stretches. And that does not come from intensity. That comes from our breath, beginning to regulate the nervous system, relaxing the body. From here, we're gonna begin to walk that right leg back until it meets the left. And if we found comfort with that blanket on the right side, taking time to move that over towards the left. And then when we do, gently just rolling slightly onto the right hip and bringing that left knee out to the side. And then again, choosing our options for our hands, our arms, our head, maybe resting the head down, maybe we like that Sphinx pose. And if we're looking to add intensity, just scooting that knee up. From here, beginning to walk that left foot back to meet the right. We're rolling on to our favorite side, resting our cheek on our bicep, and curling the knees in, kind of finding that nice, safe fetal position. And from here, we're pressing ourselves up to seated, swinging our legs back around and finding our black straps. Undoing those. And getting them on the sole of the right foot. And we're going to go through these. We're going to go through each one of these twice. We're going to be doing 45 seconds each side, 2 times. So with the strap on the right foot, we're slowly lowering. We raise that right leg up towards the ceiling. Straps comes into the right hand, and then as we exhale, we're just letting that leg fall out to the right. Now here we can just let gravity do the work. We can, again, adjust that heel position, the tension on the strap. On your next inhale, we're going to raise that right leg back up towards 12 o'clock, moving the straps in the left hand. And then as we exhale, we're twisting left, gazing right, both shoulders on the mat. A right hip can pop off here. We can play into whether we want that stacked on top of the left or further down to the mat. We can adjust the tension on the strap, kind of curling that left arm in, and we can just relax and let gravity do the work. Nothing is required. And the next inhale, the leg begins to come back up towards 12 o'clock. We're taking the strap back into the right hand. And then as we exhale, we're twisting, or we're letting that leg fall out to the right. Second time this side, hopefully feeling a little looser, maybe noticing it land in a different spot. And checking our options again. Is gravity taking over? Are we pulling, giving that strap a little tug, adjusting where that heel is?
in relation to our waistline. Next inhale, and then raise that leg back up towards 12 o'clock. Strap going in the left hand again, and then as we exhale, twisting left, gazing right. Next inhale, right leg against the rise, back up towards 12 o'clock. This time as we exhale, bringing right leg down to meet the left. Stepping into the strap with the left leg and pulling that leg back up towards 12 o'clock, strap in the left hand. And then as we exhale, leg just falls out to the left. We're going 2 times on this side as well. Is gravity taking over? Are we applying a little tension on that strap? Are we curling that arm in? Where are we working today? What invitations have you received from your body? And then next inhale, we're raising that left leg up towards 12 o'clock. Straps coming into the right hand, and then we're twisting right, gazing left, and choosing our options here. We're gonna add a slight bend in the knee. We're gonna tug on the strap. We're gonna adjust that hip position. Where do you need to be? If you're feeling it, you're doing it. And the next inhale, left leg begins to rise back up towards 12 o'clock. Strap goes back to the left hand, and as we exhale, that leg is just falling out to the side. Or maybe we can add a little more tension second time through. Maybe we take a second and check the rest of our body for tension. Has any crept into the face, the eyes, the cheeks, the jaw? And your next inhale, we're rising back up. Leg coming towards 12 o'clock, strap in the right hand, and as we exhale, twisting right, gazing left. And just like our edge changes on our feet during our standing practice, our edge can change with these These hip stretches as well. Can add a little more tension maybe. Next inhale, rising back up, extending that leg back up towards 12 o'clock. This time as we exhale, left leg lowers down to meet the right. Stepping out of the strap, we're bending the knees, soles of the feet on the mat. We're going to take some windshield wipers, pinky toes finding the wood, and then knees falling right and left. And we can gaze over the opposite shoulder as we rotate the legs back and forth. Here we're evening out both sides. And finding a little self-massage, pulling our knees into the chest. And we can grab our hands right below our knees. We can maybe find a happy baby, taking those peace fingers up to the big toes, extending the legs out. And either way, we can still get that little self-massage, rolling out the spine, getting a nice imprint of the spine on the mat. And then while we're here, bringing our hands back to behind our knees and now continuing to roll on the spine, but rocking and rolling along the length of the spine. And we're going to eventually press, rock and roll all the way up to seated. And then from here, we're swinging our legs around back. We're going to find that Sphinx pose. Extending the legs long behind. We're coming down onto our elbows. Elbows are going to be right underneath the shoulders. Palms are down, fingers are spread wide, and then feet are a comfortable distance apart. It can be wider than hip distance. Just finding a comfortable distance for the feet. Getting the legs as long as possible, and then from here, we press down on the tops of the feet. It's going to hover the kneecaps, protect the low back, and we can slightly raise the gaze. Eyes can be closed or soft gaze downward here. Do a lot of staring at the floor. From here, if we're looking for a little more intensity, we keep the pressure on the tops of the feet, keep the knees hovering, but we can pivot on our elbows, bringing our hands out about 45 degrees and then pressing into the palms, straightening the arms, finding that seal pose. Gaze is still down or eyes closed. More big breath in here. And then as we exhale, slowly lowering. Rolling back onto our favorite side. Cheek finds the bicep curl, the knees in, and then we're pressing ourselves up to seated. Swinging the legs back around front and preparing for forward folds, maybe blocks, depending on how our hamstrings are feeling. Hopefully they're a little loose. And always the option to prop the hips up on a blanket or bolster, kind of just letting the pelvis roll off the side, exaggerating that natural curve in the low back. And then from here, we're going to come right down the middle. Again, blocks under the knees if we don't want to deal with the hamstrings anymore today. We're inhaling both arms up overhead, and then with the back flat, we're hinging, we're reaching as far as we can, and then eventually dropping the arms, rounding the spine, tucking the chin. And then these first 30 seconds, no stress, no strain, no effort at all.
effort is with the breath, letting everything fall where it is. And we just begin deepening the inhale, extending the exhales out. And we're not forcing the deep stretches on our next inhale, taking a big deep breath in, and then as we exhale, begin to see if we've created any space. Now from here, each exhale becomes an opportunity to soften in. Release a little more tension, find a little room to get a little deeper. Again, not forcing anything, just accepting the invitations if and when we receive them. On your next inhale, we're slowly unfurling, rising up one vertebra at a time. Relaxing the shoulders back and down when we arrive, removing any props we may have been using, and then preparing to make our way down 4 twists. And we can start out, we can do a little core work. We can bring our arms out to the number 11, and then so the exhale, slowly lowering down. Bringing arms out to a T. Then having a block within reach, just in case. For our twist today, we're going to add that pigeon twist. We're going to get back into the hips one more time. Knees are bent, soles of the feet on the mat. And we're going to begin by grinding down into the right foot, extending the left leg up, and then we're crossing the left ankle just above the right knee. And now as we exhale, we're going to twist right, gazing left, and we want the sole of that left foot resting comfortably. And maybe it's resting on the floor. Maybe we throw a block underneath the foot or blanket or anything. We just want that foot resting comfortably. And if we want to add another little hip opener here, we can press that left knee towards the right ankle, not with our hands, just with our leg strength. And of course, always that option to just relax and not worry about the hip. We have the gentle hip opening going. We are winding down towards the end of the class. A wonderful time to begin checking for tension. Forehead, temples, eyes, cheeks, jaw, shoulders, arms, hands, fingers. We're holding on to it anywhere. Let it go. And your next inhale, we're slowly working our way out of this twist, letting the sole of the
Right foot find the mat again, extending the left leg up and slowly lowering it down to meet the right, switching sides, raising the right leg up, crossing right ankle just above the left leg, left knee. And then as we exhale, twisting left, gazing right, making sure that right foot is resting comfortably. Checking your body for the tension. Next inhale, we're beginning to slowly make our way out of this twist. And the left foot finds the mat, extending that right leg up. And then from here, another opportunity for windshield wipers or double knee hug. Let our pinky toes find the edge of the mat. Knees falling left and right, maybe pulling knees into the chest. Give ourselves another round of self massage. And then as we close our class, know we can find our inversion here. We can find our shavasana. Whichever options we're choosing. We still always have that option to come to the breath. Maybe bringing our attention to the rise and fall of the chest, to the air entering, exiting the nostrils. And maybe we notice some tension in the face, shoulders, or arms. And just with a thought, we can send that breath there, release it, let it go. Beginning to deepen the breath. Bringing movement back to fingers and toes. Taking any other movements that might feel good here. Full body stretch, another double knee hug, rolling over onto our favorite side, anything at all. And allowing your body to wake back up the best way it sees fit. Eventually making our way back to that comfortable seated position. Close with one final inhale, inhaling both arms up overhead, gather new energy for the day. Exhaling hands to heart center, seal that in, carrying that with us. And I thank you all so much for joining me, and thank yourselves for carving out this hour. Any questions, comments, concerns, feel free to speak to me after class. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you.
Thank you.
You are welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you for this all out.
For the fallout, yeah.
The fallout. Okay, good job, Betty.